As the title says, I'm going to try to go through parts of Othello line by bitter line. And I hope that it helps those of you who are having trouble reading the play. One of the things I want to point out is that when it comes to the plot itself, please take a look at page 1108 in the textbook. 1108 in the textbook gives you a plot summary of the action of the play, line, or excuse me, acts and scenes, so that you can figure out what's going on plot wise. And then I think once you know what the plot is, we can start taking a look at who these characters are and how the language is working or not working if you're struggling. There are a couple of famous quotations that I wanted to do Friday. I didn't get to them. And so we're going to start today with them. There were 4 or 5 for Friday. I'm going to start with these two. Some of the other ones I was going to do Friday, I'll just be later on in this presentation as we go line by bitter line. The idiom, but I wear my heart upon my sleeve, has become part of the English language. It's the idea that everything is out in the open and we're able to, be hurt because the daws can peck at it. If you stop and think about daws and you don't know what they are, I think it's fairly easy to think of the fact that they're some sort of birds because of the phrase peck. I am not what I am is something we have to remember. It's perhaps the most true statement that Iago makes throughout this play. He is going to appear to be all things to all people, not in the good way, but in the way where he can take advantage of them. The next one, I think, again, if we just take a look, when devils do the worst sins, they first put on the pretense of goodness and innocence, as I am doing now. And when we take a look at that, the idea of devils, evil, sins, evil, contrasted with goodness and innocence. But Iago is admitting that all of his goodness and innocence is a pretense. So when he appears to be good and innocent, he is not what he is. And very rarely does he let his guard down and appear to be evil. The seduction scene begins in Act 3, Scene 3. And Othello begins with the phrase, excellent wretch. And if you look at the bottom of the page in the textbook, most other places, it's going to talk about the idea of this is a term of endearment. All right. In other words, oh, you poor dear. Oh, you wonderful, poor woman. It's a term of endearment. Perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee. And when I love thee not, chaos is come again. Okay. Perdition catch my soul. In other words, I'm going to go to hell, right? And if I don't love you, chaos is going to come again. And again, I think it's the idea of you can take chaos as it's meant from the very beginning. The earth was without form and void, and darkness moved upon the face of the water. That was chaotic. Vast majority of creation stories, whether it's the Norse or the Greek, all have this idea of an open void of chaos. And so we're going back to the beginning in the dawn of time once he doesn't love her again. Again, we talked about the idea that wretch means a miserable person. Usually, here it's the term of endearment. But again, try to make connections. We talk about something being sick, all right, as being good. We talk about something being stupid as being good. When we certainly don't want to be stupid personally, and we certainly don't want to be sick, especially in the time of a pandemic. And he is not saying that she is an excellent, vile person. He is still in love with her. And I think it's always thinking about the context. And as I've tried to explain here, think about the modern equivalent. One of the things I think is going to happen here as we go through the slides is you're going to see me and hear me do a lot of double clicking because I've tried to set things up so that I can have some discussion in the classroom and I'm using the same slideshow. The beginning of the seduction scene begins with the simple question of, is Cassio honest. And we begin with, I don't know. I dare to be sworn that he is honest. But there's this doubt. There is this doubt. For aught I know, yeah, I think, you know, I dare be sworn. I think there's a difference between the know and the think. And this is the first step, just casting that little bit of doubt into Othello's mind about Cassio. And it's from that little seed of doubt that Iago is able to twist and twist and twist. And again, on the language here, you know versus think, okay, I think are keywords as we go here. We now get Iago doing the opposite of what he says he is. He says he is not what he is. But to Othello, he says men should be what they seem, or those that be not, would they might seem none. I think that this is a difficult little line, would they might seem none. And I think there are a couple of things one can look at here. Not be men, not be honest men. And I am not going to be super picky about trying to put this in context of whether it's they shouldn't be men at all or they shouldn't be honest men. The big picture here is Iago is showing himself to be this liar. He's going back to and we need to go back to the line, I am not what I am. The hypocrisy is stunning and the hypocrisy is out front. Okay? And I think we have to trust Iago when he tells the audience something. And we have to not trust him when he tells the other character something. As we keep going, good name in man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. Who steals my purse steals trash. 'Tis something, nothing. 'Twas mine, 'tis his, and has been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him and makes me poor indeed. Now, as you were listening, I stumbled because I wanted to pause at the end of the line. I'm going to stress again, read the punctuation, and punctuation marks, not the lines. All right? If there's a colon at the end of the line, a semicolon at the end of the line, pause. If there's no punctuation at the end of the line, keep reading. I think this one is up here because it's important to remember that, reputation and virtue are a fig in the previous act. And now that's one thing he tells Cassio. Uh, Here he is telling Othello the exact opposite. Okay. And again, there's the other irony. He keeps telling Rodrigo, put money in thy purse, put money in thy purse. I'm proud of the fact that I own his purse. The hypocrisy, again, comes out. And again, I'm not sure that this line has anything that's very difficult in the vocabulary. I hope not. Let's keep moving on. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who certain of his fate loves not his wronger. But oh, what damned minutes tells he o'er, who dotes, yet doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves. There's a big irony here because obviously at the same time he is telling Othello to beware of jealousy, Iago is doing his best to make Othello jealous. The word cuckold is tossed in here because it's a fear he wants to toss into Othello. It's not something that that Othello was thinking about before Iago started talking to him, and now he is thinking about it. And notice we're 100 lines, not even, we're 70 lines after he has told her that she is, the most excellent wretch, that she is the woman that he will love, and if he stops loving her, chaos. We'll be going back to the dawn of time. Go with your gut here. We know that Iago's not going to change. He wants Othello to be jealous. I've already talked about the cuckold part. And the context tells himself over and over. Think about what damned minutes tells he over. If I think about the idea of counts, what damned minutes counts he over? And does he note pass by? In other words, as he's noting their passing, he's thinking about all of the terrible things that could be happening, how his wife could be cheating on him. He doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves. He doubts his wife. He suspects his wife. He strongly loves his wife. He's going to be miserable because he's jealous. This is Iago's goal. He states it point blank for Othello, for us to see, and at the same time to trick Othello into becoming jealous. One of the tough things about reading here is that we know more things than the characters on the stage do. I speak not yet of proof. So, in other words, I'm not talking about proof yet. Look to your wife, observe her well with Cassio. Wear your eye thus, not jealous nor secure. In other words, look with an open mind. I would not have your free and noble nature out of self bounty be abused. Now remember, this is once again he talked about earlier in the play, that the Moor is of a free and open nature who can be led by the nose as asses are. The free and noble nature that we're talking about, free and open nature from earlier, is now being brought back. And again, the repetition of that line should remind us that he's trying to lead Othello by the nose. I know our country disposition well. In Venice, they do let heaven see their pranks. They dare not show their husbands their best conscience is not to. Now I screwed up. They dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave it undone, but keep it unknown. Now remember, apostrophes are supposed to show contractions. In this case, it's it, so that the poetic language can keep going. All right. But look again. He is doing a flip flop of what he did yesterday, or what we talked about last class period. Okay. Last class period, we talked about the idea of going from the specific woman to women in general. All right. And now, once again, he is doing that same thing. He's talking about his wife, of the specific woman, but then he is going to women in general and trying to trap Desdemona in this thing. It's not the opposite. I think I said that wrong. Okay. And again, let me try to read the punctuation one more time. In Venice, they do let heaven see the pranks they dare not show their husbands. Their best conscience is not to leave it undone, but keep it unknown. The more I think about reading Shakespeare, the more I think about if it's getting to be trouble for you, read it out loud, read the punctuation, not the lines. Okay, if I can make this thing work and hit the right things. Okay. Iago then pulls this perfect thing. He goes from, look to your wife, observe her, women in Venice are terrible, to bringing it back specifically to Desdemona. She did deceive her father marrying you. And when she seemed to shake and fear your looks, she loved them most. If women in Venice are deceitful, and Desdemona's a woman from Venice, she might be deceitful. And oh, by the way, she did deceive her father. Could she be deceiving you? He doesn't have to say that out loud. He's got Othello thinking it. And again, remember, Iago always reverses himself. Act 2 when specific to general. Act 3, he goes from the general to the specific. Actually, he went from specific to general to specific, but you get the drift. Think about the line, I am bound to thee forever. And again, work to make connections, work to think about where we would hear a line like that in the year of our Lord 2021. And what are the implications of the lines like that? And I think as we go through and think about this, one of the spots that we can certainly think of, I am bound to thee forever. What God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. This is almost as if Othello is saying, I'm married to you. I'm no longer married to Desdemona. I am married to you. And once that happens, Iago wins. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. This is this line where we know Iago's going to win. We don't have to look any further. How it plays out, what the consequences are why we're going to read. We don't have to read or watch any longer. This line right here lets us know it's over. Iago has won. Now there's some back and forth here. Okay? Villain, be sure thou prove my love a whore. I think I'll come back to this again probably on next Wednesday when we're back in class again to talk about that wife whore contrast a little bit. Be sure of it. Give me ocular proof. I want to see it. Or by the worth of man's eternal soul, thou hadst been better to have been born a dog than answer my waked wrath. Again, I think that this is pretty self explanatory. By your soul, it would have been better if you were a dog if you're lying to me. Make me to see it, or at least so prove it that the probation bear no hinge nor loop to hang a doubt on or woe upon thy life. And again, notice how tough it is to always read the punctuation. I stopped at loop when I shouldn't have. Okay? And again, if thou dost slander her and torture me, never pray more. Abandon all remorse. On horrors had horrors accumulate. Do deeds to make heaven weep, all earth amazed. For nothing canst thou to damnation add greater than that. So, even though we know he's won, Othello, we know Iago has won. Let's be clear about that. Othello doesn't know. And so Othello is screaming, you got to give me proof. You've got to prove it to me. You've got to make me see it. It has to be ocular proof. It has to be the proof that doesn't have any doubt. And if you slander her, I will make you wish you were in hell. And yet, we know Iago has won. As we keep going, all right, by the world, I think my wife be honest and think she is not. I think thou art just and think thou art not. I'll have some proof. Her name that was fresh as Dian's visage is now begrimed and black as my own face. If there be cords or knives, poison or fire or suffocating streams, I'll not endure it. Would I were satisfied. We have all these dichotomies. We have all these oppositions. Notice that he is continuing to elevate Iago and bring down Desdemona. They are at the same level. They are both, he doubts them both at the moment. Notice the mythological allusion. Diana was the Roman goddess of the hunt. She was a virgin goddess. Her Greek equivalent was Artemis. Artemis was the only Olympian deity in ancient Greece to accept human sacrifice. She was also very, very hard on her followers who weren't virgins. One of them became pregnant, and she had the follow her torn apart by bears. One guy saw her naked. She switched him into a deer and had his own dogs hunt him down and kill him. She was an extreme virgin. And so, using that she was extremely pure, and now she's viewed as extremely impure, shows how far he has come in just a few lines. And I believe I have the wrong line in here. I apologize. Iago then doesn't necessarily plant any proof. He keeps going down the path of, remember, I think Cassio's honest. I'm not sure Cassio's honest. But oh, by the way, Cassio talks in his sleep, and he, I was up because I had a bad toothache, and he talked about kissing Desdemona, and then he grabbed my thigh, and then he cried, "Cursed fate that gave thee to the Moor." Surely, because in his sleep he mutters his affairs, and that means he is loose of soul. Surely there must be some truth to this. And so now we've gone from, I think he's honest, to he is loose of soul. And now that he's loose of soul, look at all these things he's saying about your wife. He's got Othello in the all fired up. And then he does this beautiful, beautiful trick. Nay, but be wise. Yet we see nothing done. She may be honest yet. Slow down. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. Oh, by the way, have you seen a handkerchief spotted with strawberries in your wife's hand? Okay. Othello says it was his first gift to her. And then Cassio was wiping his beard with that handkerchief. If that be, it speaks against her with all the other proofs. We haven't had any other proofs. We have him telling a story about Cassio talking in his sleep. We have no other proofs. All right. But it is enough. As we keep going, we now have Othello screaming for blood. We now have Othello calling her a lewd minx. We now have her being damned. And we now want Cassio dead. We have Othello as lieutenant. And oh, by the way, we're going to find a quick way to kill Desdemona. I hope this has helped. I hope my reading some of these lines out loud has helped. I apologize for my missteps. Um, I am not perfect on this either, but I think going back and rereading line by bitter line and looking for the punctuation, not just the ending of the line, remembering the fact of who Cassio or who Iago is, and that therefore we know things that Othello doesn't, and therefore we have to act on Othello's speech with our knowledge, not his. I hope this helps. I hope you all have a good extra day on the weekend. We'll talk to you all in class on Wednesday. If you have any questions, please let me know.